You know when you drop someone because you're good off of them, it's like on to the next. But if you see that person with someone else, it's like, hold on.
I wanted my space, and I was never getting that even when I had the conversation with him. And now.
Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. Yes, it's your favorite dating and relationship coach. I'm back with another one. Listen, I'm talking about Kordell and Serena. I hate to say I told you so, but just like Serena wins all her championships, I was right again. Look, Serena and Kordell, I said it already, she got a little bit of toxicity in her. Right? She got a little bit of toxicity. Now, I'm going to introduce what we call attachment styles into this conversation, right? If you know about attachment styles, fantastic. Attachment styles is the way that we attach ourselves in relationships, in the sense of how do we relate with others, right? Some people have a more anxious style. Some people have a more dismissive, avoidant style. Some people have a more fearful, avoidant, and some are secure, all right? And I'll go a bit deeper a little bit later on, okay? But how do you attach to someone when it comes to intimacy and vulnerability? Now, what's really interesting is that Serena told us that, you know what, she don't want the kid. Yeah? She told us and went to him and told him she don't want the kid. Okay? When he was explaining his feelings, she said she don't want the kid. Right? And all of a sudden, now that he's with now there's another woman showing him attention. Suddenly, she wants Kordell. Now, it's really interesting because what applied meaning can we add to this, which is that actually this isn't really about Kordell. It's actually all about Serena and what meaning she applies to another woman showing interest to the person who she rejected. Because surely if she rejected that kid, then really she doesn't want that kid. But now somebody else wants the kid. Now she wants it. And it reminded me a little bit, I'm not saying this is her all the way through. It reminded me a little bit of a fearful avoidant, right? And the reason why I said fearful avoidant FAs, because FAs have both the anxious and the dismissive. And when you're anxious, you tend to lean in, meaning that you get your sense of worth from your relationships. So you're always trying to hold on. The dismissive person is is not trust. It doesn't trust people very easily. So they're always leaving. The fearful avoidant does both. They both want the relationship and they want to be validated by the relationship, but at the same time, when they get the intimacy, it's scary for them and they push it away and then they sabotage the relationship. And it made me think, because in reality, did we not just have this conversation?
Played a part, but like the fact that I'm not like, oh my God, like I want to like kiss and stuff like that. I mean, I think that is, I guess, telling for myself. Yeah. And you also want that, and
now, if you saw the previews for the next episode, she's talking about how her inside's a little bit giggly, and I wonder if that's about him. I don't know for 100%, but it sounds like it may be a little bit about Kordell, how her inside's a little bit giggly now. Now, why would somebody, and we're not sure for 100%, I'm just building the case. Why would someone go from it's boring to now it's giggly, right? Why would someone go from it's boring to now get the loop? You know what I mean? I'm loose. Well, the reality of the situation is that it is the way that she's interpreting scenarios. And I said this from the first video that I dropped about how she's viewing situations. And that's why I chose fearful avoidance, because when it comes to fearful avoidance, the way that they view the world is very interesting. And see, the fearful avoidant individual, their core belief is that they believe they're unlovable, and also they don't trust other people to support and accept them because they think others will eventually reject them. They withdraw from the relationship. This is coming from Very Well Mind. I love their stuff on their page. So very Well Mind. I'm just reading a little bit of an extract of what they've written, right? I've been listening to videos all the way through the week, and this is some of the stuff that just hit, and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And so their core belief is that they're unlovable, right? And they don't trust other people. They got the two, right? They don't trust people to support them and accept them, which is the dismissive side. But they also are feeling like they're unlovable, right? So that's the anxious side. And so in a sense, they have two. And so once they receive the love, they push it away because they're not feeling like people are going to support and accept them, right? And so they eventually withdraw from the relationship, self-sabotage. And at the same time, however, they strongly desire intimacy because the acceptance of others helps them feel better about themselves. People with fearful avoidant attachment style want love, closeness, connection, yet they fear and avoid it. And so it made me think, why go from all of a sudden not wanting it to now wanting it? Well, the reality of the situation is when you had it, it was too close. Right? It was too close for you. It was too intimate, too vulnerable. He was sharing too many feelings. It was too quick. It was too quick for you. So you had to push it away. You sabotage the relationship. You push that relationship away. Now somebody else wants it. It's easy just to go down the road of, yeah, she just wants it because he wants it. Yeah, partly that's also it. You realize that. But also now you realize that that person has created distance. which is where the dismissive comes in, because the dismissive avoidant attachment likes the distance that is created in relationships, so that they don't have to be too vulnerable, because they don't trust people. If I keep you at arm's length, I can control you from where you're at. But if you get too close, I have to get vulnerable, and that makes me feel weak, and that makes me feel like I don't have control anymore, and I don't have autonomy over me. I feel like you're going to cause enmeshment on me, right? I feel like I'm going to lose my sense of self. So we've got both the avoidant and the anxious playing a role in the fearful avoidant, okay? All right? So in that sense, when you're looking at Serena and what she was saying, right, the dismissive side is, I think, because Kordell is a bit, and this is another thing, if you're a fearful avoidant, what's going to end up happening is you tend to lean to more than one side. So if your partner is more anxious, you lean to the dismissive. If your partner is more dismissive, you tend to lean to more anxious, which is just crazy. It's mind-boggling, but it makes sense, right? Okay. Now, if you're going through something like this, I need you to reach out to me. I have actually dealt with a lot of clients over this past week who have that attachment style, and I because I've begun to understand it, I can identify it. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I see it now, right? And we can address those things. So if you are going through that, reach out to me, put yourself in my calendar. Like I said, obviously, got to be honest with you. Listen, I'm not asking you to pay a specific price. Pay whatever you feel the session's worth. I always believe is my work is worth its weight in gold, but I want you to pay whatever it's worth, or whatever you have in your hands, because some people don't have it, and that's okay. Pay whatever you can pay. You know what I'm saying, Shu? It's a blessing either way. All right, cool. So going back to what we're saying, okay? Now look at this part.
Yeah, he's respecting my boundaries. You know, like he's respecting I need someone that's respecting my boundaries. I need to feel.
Let me tell him. Okay. Yeah.
And what's really interesting is that she said that he's respecting my boundaries. Now, if this was more dismissives, they tend to ghost when people break their boundaries, because dismissives have a very tough time telling people their boundaries, so they tend to avoid it. So when their boundaries get broken, they avoid, right? Rather than actually speaking it. Anxious people tend to break their own kind of boundaries because they're wanting that validation for the relationship. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So when she mentioned that, I was like, okay, I think the reason why I think it's more fearful avoidant is because they have trouble they have trouble actually stating what their boundaries are. They have trouble actually implementing those boundaries, because their sense of danger also is very warped. No offense to anybody, I'm putting it in a very less than therapeutic way, but their sense of danger is really warped. Like if you're fearful avoidant, your sense of danger, you go into dangerous situations and not really deep how dangerous it actually is. Like you can see it, but you don't it's almost like you don't acknowledge it all the way through. And so you find yourself in very dangerous positions, especially with the opposite sex, because you want to instigate your boundaries, but you don't know how to do it, and it's difficult to do. So in the end, they end up in positions they don't want to end up into. And actually, when I was researching, fearful avoidants tend to have most sexual partners, because out of all the insecurities, dismissives and anxious people, fearful avoidants tend to not know how to say no. Their biggest issue is not knowing how to say no. And so because of that fear, it causes them to be in situations that they don't need to be in, right? So imagine all this is going on. I can't lie, when I was researching it, I said, hey, I'm glad I'm dismissive, because the fearful avoidance sounds kind of mad. Can't lie to you, right? So when I was looking at Serena, I was just kind of hearing that, because now all of a sudden you want him because he's created a distance. What's going to happen is if she doesn't work on this and doesn't recognize this, when he comes back, it's going to happen again. It'll be a few weeks and she'll be up and out. And probably this time, there won't be much of an explanation, because really and truly, her actual explanation has nothing to do with why she's coming back. Because what she talked about was, oh, he was on my boundaries, da-da-da. But the reasons that she gave in the beginning was because she didn't feel nothing in the panty line. She didn't feel anything down below, right? She didn't feel the urge to want to kiss him. Why? Because there was no danger. Yeah. Because the thing about fearful avoidance is that they grow up in very dysregulated and very dysfunctional and chaotic environments. Either there was abuse, or there was alcoholic substance abuse, or drugs, or a parent was given some of their affection but then would be present but not present. There would be irregular. there'll be irregularities in the way that the person behaved. So the child is actually confused because one day they get it, tomorrow they don't. And so because of that, the child doesn't know how to regulate itself and cannot come up with a consistent strategy in order for them to be able to deal with the caregiver. For instance, a dismissive person like myself, if the parent's neglectful consistency, what ends up happening is you build a consistent behavior. It's like, okay, well, I know my needs are going to get met. I'm not going to bother anymore. The anxious person has some level of consistency, right? The parent might be over-leaning, breaking boundaries, too close, whatever you want to call it. And so in the end, that child ends up, that child has, again, another consistent set of behaviors that allow that child to be able to build some behaviors, how they become very anxious. But the fearful avoidant doesn't have that. It's a chaotic environment where anything goes and you need to adjust on the fly. So the fearful avoidant actually loves novelty. They love freshness. They love new things. They don't like to settle. When I say settle, not just sit down, but they love things that are new. They need fresh manna daily. And they are new every morning. New every morning, great is thy faithfulness. Yeah, they need new that, okay? They need a new. So what ends up happening is when someone comes along that is a little bit more stable or someone is a bit more anxious, they become more dismissive. Want to put more firm boundaries, want to distance themselves, push them away. So just a little something that I noticed about her. Like I didn't want to go too hard. I was like trying to understand it. When I'm trying to understand people's behaviors, I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, we're going to have to work on that, Serena, because we can't be going back to Kordell knowing that you didn't feel anything in the parenting line, and maybe we're feeling something now. That may be something we need to discuss a little bit in terms of maybe the way that you actually attach to relationships. And another thing also as well, she mentioned the word, I don't know if I got it here. Let me see if I got it. Okay.
I can't have my man constantly being up under me. So I like when men are doing what you guys doing their own thing.
Yeah. And okay, at first Kordell wasn't even on the radar. Now he's back on the radar. We
Okay, wrong clip. I think the other one I want to play where he said obviously they're great as friends now. Fearful avoidance love friends. They love the word friend. Hey, fearful avoidance and friends. The word friend. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about if you're fearful avoidant. They love the word friend because they're afraid of the intimacy and they're often afraid of progressing the relationship, whereas dismissive and anxious can progress the relationship and then they start showing a little bit later on. The fearful avoidant from the very beginning, okay, all right? They might be like in the courting stage, they're really excitable, They're there. And they're one of the most amazing people, fearful avoidance. And then it gets to a point where you're meant to progress the relationship. Just as you're about to progress the relationship, that is when the drama starts. That is where the drama starts. That's where you start getting a bit more of the I'm a friend, you're a friend, because they're afraid of progressing a relationship. Because what they're afraid of is if they get into a relationship or they get into intimate relationship where the person's being more vulnerable and it's not a chaotic relationship, what they fear is they'll be seen for who they really are. Ooh, because their core wound is I'm unlovable. So if they get into a relationship, they are afraid that you'll see them for who they really are. Oh, yay, shake your leg for me.
You know when you drop someone because you're good off of them, it's like on to the next, but if you see that person with someone else, it's like, hold on.
I wanted my space, and I was never getting that even when I had the conversation.
Wrong clip. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to press that. You know what I mean? What I really wanted to show was a clip where she said about friend, and I don't think I have the clip about the friend. I thought I did.
He's respecting my boundaries. You know, he's respecting that I need someone that's respecting my boundaries. I need to feel.
Let me tell him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, with me and Kordell becoming friends,
me and Kordell becoming friends. There it is. Friend, where have you been? Nobody knows it. Come get it. Hey, sign up for my coaching, guys. Listen, I'm a serious candidate. I'm not even playing with you. These are the kind of issues we're dealing with. Fearful avoidance, dismissive, anxious. We are, listen, and I'm a coach that won't lie to you. I'm not going to tell you that I'm so far ahead. We're journeying together. Because as you're growing, I'm growing too. As I talk with you, I'm learning. I'm just giving you whatever resources and tools that I have in order to heal you. You know what I'm saying to you? So, look, come, let's discuss this. Let's break it down. Let's heal. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm on my own journey as well, becoming more secure. And each and every day I see things, I'm like, whoa, is that how I'm behaving? That ain't it at all, man. So, I appreciate you guys. We'll see you again soon for another video. Much love, much appreciation.